Hello and welcome to this video about using digital task schedules for online learning. My name is Lori Guion and I am the Assistant Coordinator for Model Schools at Warren, Saratoga, Washington, Hamilton, Essex, BOCES, which is located in Saratoga Springs, New York. My Twitter handle is @SmileLearning. I'm also a very proud Buncee ambassador and I'm excited to show you an idea to help keep your students organized and on task in an online environment. So what you see in front of you is a basic weekly schedule to help your students organize what needs to be done each day for a project that they're doing. The idea is that they're not spending their time online just listening to different presentations, but they're actually creating and exploring and using their ideas and wondering and research skills to really make sure that their learning is visible, that their learning is active, and that they're engaged academically. So the way I broke this one down happens to be on a weekly or a daily schedule, but you certainly could break it down however you want to do the different tasks. The idea is that the students should be engaged when they can be. So they may not have access to a digital tool all day, every day. So this way they can get on, do the little bits each day that they need to do, but it keeps them on task to complete the projects. This particular task happens to be in animal research, but it can be changed to be anything that works for you and your students based on your curriculum. So on this one, what we did is on Monday, we would have the students pick an animal to research, whatever animal it happens to be, and then they're going to use 3 different resources to just find out more about their animal. When they click on the click here, what it's going to do is it's going to take them out to a Wakelet that's going to give them the resources that we want them to use for this project. Since we don't want them just Googling information, we want them to use the resources that are available to them within their school. I always like to mention to students to check their library page because those are the resources they should be using first. And then we added in some of our other ones that students are familiar with that they can do to research their animal. From there, once they've kind of done some research, done a little reading, we want them to kind of start engaging with their students. We know that being home can be very lonely, and we want to make sure that they're engaging with each other in an online environment that's safe and kind of structured for them. So on Tuesday, the idea is that they would create a Flipgrid video. And within this video, they would tell about the animal they researched, some of the fun things that they learned, and as a bonus, they would show their video to a parent or, and share them online with each other so that they can, find out other questions that people might have about their animals and engage in some really good conversations. For any students that struggle with the reading, it's really nice that Buncee has built in the immersive reader piece. So if I click on that just to bring you into immersive reader, you can see that it will read the screen for them. And what's nice about immersive reader is you can change the size of the text to be anything that you need to do. You can increase and decrease the spacing depending on what your students need. They can change the color however it works for them. If you go over to the grammar options, maybe they need to know which of the words were nouns and which ones were verbs. You can highlight those. And you can even have it separated out by syllables if that helps your student out. And then finally, under the reading preferences, they can focus the line down if they need to. And they can also have a picture dictionary. So if we click over a word, if you have that on, then it will show pictures of the items as well. It also will translate to over 60 different languages. So if you have a student whose parents maybe don't speak English or maybe they don't, this will help them be able to still complete the assignment with some support. So after Tuesday, they've made their video, they've done some research. On Wednesday, they're going to start creating their Buncee. And the idea is that they're going to create a cover that has their name, a picture of their animal, and make sure that they have a background that really reflects the animal's habitats. This could be something that the week before you really talked about ecosystems and habitats and kind of preset them so they understood what they were going to be looking for, so they understand what that word actually means. On Thursday, then they're going to create their actual slides. So they're going to add in fun facts, including their habitat, what the animals eat, and some things that they learned about their animal. And then on Friday, they kind of clean it up, add the links to the articles that they used, and they're going to submit that work either through the Buncee Classroom page where it's saved on there, or maybe through Google Classroom or on Teams, wherever your school likes students to hand in their work. And then you might want to kind of preset them for what's going to be happening the next week. We want to make sure they get outside, get some fresh air, and then maybe next week is they're going to be doing some sort of outdoor adventure. So here's just an example of one that you can use. To set these up, you're just going to create a new Buncee. And what I like to do is use a plain background. And they have some really great templates for that too. But just to show you starting from scratch, we're going to call this our weekly schedule. And maybe I'm going to call this week 3 because they might have already done one or a couple before. I like to choose a more plain background for these kind of things. Sometimes it gets a little busy. So I usually just put in a word. Since we're talking about outdoors next week, maybe I want green. So I'll pick a green background. I'll kind of look through, decide on the one I want. Oh, this one looks fun. Even though it's not terribly green, but it has some really cool plants and things and a nice sky. And then I start to build from here. So I'm going to add some text boxes. I'm going to add in some, maybe this one I want to add numbers. So I might add in a number and then break it into different sections. And once I've added these all into the different sections, as I go through and do the whole week, I can kind of organize the different animations and then the lines. I like to use the shape line to just grab the straight line to kind of separate and give the structure to the students. I'll just spin it so it goes the other way. And then I break it down that way and I continue to create. So it's just a simple way to kind of organize ideas. It's a simple way to gather, to get your students creating and organizing. And if they can't finish something on Monday, at least they know maybe, Tuesday, Wednesday, they still know what they have to do, but maybe it's a lighter load for them on that day to kind of organize their work and get it completed. So keep creating, keep exploring, and get your students doing some really good active learning.